Hello everyone, welcome back to this trance voice modulation workshop. My name is Savvy, and if you don't already know me, I am here to teach you today how you can modify your voice to make it sound more feminine, to make it sound more masculine. No matter what your voice goals are, I have the solution for you. Well, mostly everyone has a different starting point of their voices. Remember that voice training is a marathon, not a sprint, so take your time, listen to your body, and be safe with it. Talking about being safe for your body, you should first and foremost want to make sure to be respecting it. So if you ever feel like your voice gets tired, if it feels dry, if you sometimes lose your higher pitches and your higher range, you might want to maybe stop for the day, let your voice rest a little bit, and restart tomorrow. Again, marathon, not a sprint. But if you want to use your voice, you have to make sure to keep it hydrated. That means that if you want to use your voice, drink at least 10 to 15 minutes. Drink at least 15 minutes. No, drink water at least 10 to 15 minutes before starting any voice work. That is because when you drink the water, it does not go directly to hydrate your vocal folds. It instead goes down to your stomach. Thankfully, otherwise it would go down to your lungs and you would not have a great time. Sometimes this happens to me, but that's just because I am a very silly person. That being said, the hydration process will happen through the blood flow. So the blood flow and the veins within the capillaries, rather, in your vocal folds, which you might call the vocal cords, by the way, are going to hydrate, provide the nutrients that the vocal folds need to regenerate and to become hydrated. Talking about hydration. If you use your voice, use the vocal folds. And they vibrate really fast, sometimes a few hundred times per second. It's an extremely intense process for such a small thing. We're talking about millimeters of tissue that's vibrating really fast. And so that hydration is really important. So certain things are known to be bad for the hydration of the voice. Typically, if you drink coffee or if you drink alcohol or if you, for example, smoke, all of these things will be dehydrating to the voice, and it will not prevent you from using your voice, no, but it will make it harder and your voice might dehydrate faster and have a much harder time, sustained, you will have a much harder time sustaining your voice during your practice time. Not even to talk about you using your voice normally. Also, some medications are known to be dehydrating to the body. So be sure to check in with your doctor and with your prescription what kind of medication you take. I know spironolactone, I know hay fever medications can sometimes be dehydrating to the body. I know Spiro is for a fact. But you should not stop taking those medications. They're taken for a reason, right? Just maybe try to work around it. If you can take the medication right before sleep, so you avoid the issue of dehydration during the workday, during your voice workday, that is a good way to go. If not, if you have to take it at noon, practice your voice in the morning or in the evening. If you have to take it in the morning, prefer practicing your voice in the afternoon or in the evening. So just try to work around your own kind of schedule and be aware of your limits so you can better move beyond them. Okay, with that being said, we'll get into what is voice exactly. But before I do need to make something clear, something very important. My connection might drop at any point during this workshop. So do know that if it comes to this, please join the Trance Academy Discord server. For those on Twitch, you might have the link dropped in the Twitch chat. For those who are here, well, if you found this place in the first place, you probably can find the Discord link very easily. If not, I'm sure someone from our lovely volunteers will be able to provide. But that being said, let's move on to the next part of the workshop. And yeah, let's go. So what exactly is voice? We like to use the very simple power source filter model to explain how voice functions. So it's rather simple. You have air. The air moves up here. It reaches this voice box, which we call the larynx. And within the larynx, you have little flaps. Those flaps we call the vocal folds, and they vibrate from bottom to top, creating a source sound. That source sound will then move up in all of these spaces, so For example, the mouth space or the nose space or the pharyngeal space. The pharynx is the tube behind the nose and the mouth. And so all of this space can be rather really big or can be rather really small. And so modifying the size of the vocal tract allows us to change what kind of frequencies we tend to emphasize. And so by changing the filter size, by changing the size of the vocal tract, we can change the perception of the voice, rather make it sound much darker and much more masculine leaning, or make it sound much smaller and brighter, more feminine leaning. So that's very simple. We push air, it makes voice happen here, or rather it makes a sound happen here, and that sound gets filtered out by our nose or mouth, etc., and that forms voice. But I'm not here to push you into a very narrow box of a hyper-feminine voice or a hyper-masculine voice. Rather, I want you to find your own voice, whether it is feminine, masculine, androgynous, or anything beyond that. So what exactly am I trying to talk about here? Well, I want to talk about the gender perception dimorphism that happens when it comes to voice. Specifically, when testosterone hits our voice, something happens. Well, we call this puberty, and puberty has strange mechanisms. In terms of voice, 3 things will happen when testosterone hits the vocal folds. The first thing that will happen is that, the testosterone won't just hit the vocal folds. So the first thing that will happen is that testosterone will have our larynx drop. So with the larynx dropping, we go from a really small vocal tract size to a really big vocal tract size that sounds a lot more darker, more hollow. The second thing that happens is that the vocal folds, which vibrate really fast at high pitches, start to vibrate a lot slower. And by vibrating a lot slower can produce much lower pitches. And so by producing these lower pitches, we already are pretty close to a masc voice. But the third thing that happens is that testosterone also makes those vocal folds gain some muscle. And as they gain more muscle, they can produce more textured sounds. And now we went from like this really soft and smooth femme voice to this really dark, low-pitched, and thick sound. And so this is pretty much what I am talking about here. What I meant by not forcing your voice to be one way or another is just a way to talk to you about the dimorphism that comes from the exposure to testosterone, because that is what mainly gets the voices to sound different. Of course, there is some socializing aspects, right? Like you might socialize more with feminine speakers or with masculine speakers, and you might take some of these behaviors on. But biologically, what differentiates the voices that we don't really have an input on until we do some voice work, testosterone will be the definer of that. And so our main goal is to either mimic the effects of testosterone if we want to make the voice sound more masculine, or to reverse those effects. By knowing how to reverse them, we can find a feminine voice again. And if you want to find an androgynous voice, you want to do something in between. So like take a bit of both and see what you do with that. Okay. That's pretty good on time. So now next thing we'll do is, I did mention that vocal hygiene is really important. There's one thing I didn't mention, and this one is really important. We're going to talk about warming up our voices. So why do we warm up the voice? Well, just like any muscle in our body, we need to stretch it first. You're not going to go run a marathon without stretching your legs, right? So same thing happens here, except that we're not stretching the legs, but the vocal folds. And so to do this, we'll do what we call softies. SOVTE. It stands for semi-occluded vocal tract exercise. That's a mouthful of word, but all you need to understand is that basically when you produce voice, you always use the pressure from below the lungs, right? Up below the lungs, there is not much. So below the vocal folds, which are within the larynx, you'll find that the lungs have a lot of air. And so remember, I told you that the vocal folds vibrate from bottom to top, right? So that means that there is always a shear pressure beneath them. By doing a semi-occlusion of the vocal tract, by closing the mouth space a little bit with like a lip trill or zzz, your tongue and teeth in the way, like a Z sound, we can create a pressure here that helps fight the pressure from our lungs. And so the vocal folds now can vibrate with a bit less pressure from below them. And so we can have an easier time warming up the voice. And that is precisely what we'll do. So for this, you are more than welcome to unmute yourselves. And I'll show you an example, and then we'll do this example together. Sounds good? All right. I'll go first on the O sound as in the word old. So I go first. Old. Let's try this all together in 3, 2, 1. All right, very good. Nice. Let's try a different sound. This time I'm going to show you a Z sound, as in the word zoo. I go first. Let's try this in 3, 2, 1. All right, very good. And now one last sound. We're going to do a lip trill. So we kind of bubble our lips like this. I go first. Let's try this together in 3, 2, 1. All right, very good. Good job, everyone. Now, with that being said and done, our voices are probably warmed up. Of course, you might want to do more or less of this warm up, of course, but with the time we have allotted here, this is what we can do to start with. So, okay. For those who are not familiar with the workshop or who are new to this one, I'll recommend you to, I won't recommend you anything, sorry. I'm getting my things mixed up. I'll get up on stage 2 people who want to feminize their voices and 2 people who want to masculinize their voices. I'll start with masc voices today. So if you want to make your voice sound more masculine, please jump in place, raise your hand, or use the hand emoji, which I can find very quickly somewhere. I don't know where it is. It's fine. You'll have to trust me on this. There's the hand emoji like this. All right. So anyone wants to make their voices sound more masculine? All right. Going once, going twice, going thrice. If that's a real word. Oh, coffee beans. Yes. You want to work on your voice? Yeah. All right. Come closer. Everyone give a big round of applause to coffee beans. Woo! All right. Hello there. Hi.
Hello.
Hello. Okay. Let me set up a timer so I don't lose track of the time. Perfect. Let's go. So coffee, beans, first time ever in one of these workshops?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Really? So are you familiar with the concepts of vocal fold mass, of vocal tract size, and of pitch? Or is this all completely alien to you?
A bit of it is, I do know about it, but I do think I need a refresher.
All right, all good. So as I mentioned before at the very start of the workshop, our voices are impacted by testosterone, or more or less by testosterone. Those who are heavily impacted by it get a really masc voice, and those who aren't, well, generally kind of stay more in a femme voice, right? Their vocal folds haven't gotten longer from the testosterone effects. Their vocal folds have not gotten thicker and have more muscle mass, have more texture, and a boomier, buzzier voice. And they don't have a bigger vocal tract because testosterone does encourage the larynx, or your Adam's apple, which is like the cartilage part of your larynx, to drop lower and create a darker sound. And so in the case of voice masculinization, we actually want to mimic the effects of testosterone. So do be warned that because it is something biological in this regard, you might not be able to like reach the same stretches as someone who has had like an extreme effect of testosterone in their voices. But with practice, you can achieve like something that can be quite good in regards of making it sound more masculine. And so I guess we'll see what your abilities are today and see how far we can push your voice to sound more masculine. All right? So,
Mm-hmm.
first things first, I want to see what your pitch range is made of. Can you give me a slide from your highest pitch down to your lowest pitch? Give it a try, Coffee.
Okay. Uh, yeah.
Oh, if you were to... Oh,
Ooh.
okay, good. Oh, that's a C3. That's really encouraging. Nice. Okay. Oh, so just so you know, C3 can sound both like this. Like a really, really feminine voice. Or it can sound like, oh, like a really dark, deep masculine voice. That's the exact same pitch. All I changed is the size and the shape of the filter. This is the next thing we're going to do. For this, I want you to use whispers. The point here is to explore with sounds so that we can trigger physiological changes. And so what I want you to do is mimic right after me. We're going to say, pat that cat, like a little cat. And it's going to be really bright, like this. Pat that cat. Try it out. Now, let's try to not just go quiet, but try to go for a whisper. The point of this is to avoid having the vocal folds vibrate, so we only hear the air passing through them. Pat, that, cat. Try it again. Okay, I believe your mic might have been cut off a little bit. You are on, I'm guessing desktop, but let's do this anyway. Can you go to like the sound settings within vrchat and make sure that under the microphone settings that the mic activation threshold is turned off? I think now it is. Very good.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Let's try this again. Pat, pat, cat. Beautiful. Now we're going to use just the word pat, and we're going to go towards a darker pat whisper. So it's going to sound like this. Pat, 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 pat. Try it out. Very good. You went from pat, pat, pat to pa, pa, pa. Something I noticed, however, and this is just for you to be careful in the future as you practice this, is that when you said the pats, sometimes you said pet, which means that your tongue in your mouth changed shape. And by changing the shape of the tongue, you're not actually relying on the larynx dropping. That's why I really emphasize on the fact that we should stay on the word pat, not say the word pot, not say the word pet, but always try to hear pat the entire way through. So, pat, 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 pat. Now I'll ask you to do this again in a second, but first, I want you to take your hand in real life and put it on your neck gently. Don't press down, just like try to feel for your Adam's apple. I know it's called the Adam's apple, but everyone has it. So could be the Eve's apple, could be the biological apple. I think a good word for this would be the laryngeal cartilage, but that's a mouthful, so just the apple. Can you find it under your fingers?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, very good. Just do know that for some people, the Adam's apple is not as prominent as others. So you might take some time to find it sometimes. In your case, not. So that means that it's going to be easier for you to tell. But just a bit more. What I want you to do is like with the index finger right underneath your chin and the pinky finger right kind of where your collarbone starts. And so you can have like your hand like kind of like working as a ladder, like kind of like a way to like know where the Adam's apple is. And so as you have your hand like this on your neck, I want you to do the pat, 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 pat. From bright pat to dark pat. Try it out.
Pat, 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 pat.
Very good. Nice. As you did this, did you feel that the Adam's apple was trailing down?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's very good. If you said no, I would be like, you probably didn't feel the Adam's apple then, because physically, it's the only way you can achieve such a dark sound. Okay, very good. And now with that dark sound, we're going to want to bridge back into full voice. What you've achieved is a dark whisper. So you could speak in a dark whisper. But most people won't be able to hear you. So we're going to want to close the vocal folds again and achieve a dark sound. Remind me, your lowest pitch was a C3. So if I look on my pitch monitor, let's try to go back to this pitch here. Oh, try to go down here. Oh, yes, very good. Now still with your hand there, I want you to go pa, 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 pa. And once you reach that low space, that low position, you're gonna do pa, 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 pat, that, cat. Closing the vocal folds whilst keeping that low position of your Adam's apple. Try it out.
Pat, pat, pat,
Yes, very good. Pat. Yes, pat that. And notice what happened here. Pat that cat. It kind of went brighter at the end, right? So you might have felt that your Adam's apple was shooting back up a little bit, but that's normal. What I like to call this, I'm not the first one to call this, but I like to call this the gravity of behavior, right? We are kind of pulled to the old ways of our voices. In your case, the old ways is to, like, generally speak at like a higher pitch and with a small vocal tract size. But just as you saw today, with some, practice, some exercises, you can bring your voice, pat that cat, all right, quite dark. So just keep practicing at this. Like, try to keep your Adam's apple down there. Try to go for the lowest pitch you can comfortably do, and then just start speaking. Pat that cat, that mad brat sat on that flat mat, etc., etc. So I'm sorry I took the time to re-explain the fundamentals and the methodology behind how we do this voice masculinization. If we had more time, we'd do a bit more practice, but you now have the tools, the basic understanding of how it works. So all I have to tell you is have fun practicing, and I hope that you get to your voice goals as soon as possible.
Thank you.
You're super welcome. Everyone give a big round of applause to Coffee Beans. Woo! All right, see you around. Next up on stage, I want to see someone who wants to make their voices sound more feminine. If you want to do this, jump in place, or raise your hand, or use the, all right, here, lemon amnesia. Have you already been on stage before? Nope. All right, come on stage. Come on, come on. Everyone give a big round of applause to lemon amnesia. Woo! All right. Hello. Hi.
Hello.
All right. Awesome. Let's go. I'm going to start the timer so I keep track of time somewhat. All right. Hello. Hi. Welcome up on stage. Have you already been to one of these workshops before?
The first time.
This is the first time ever?
Yeah.
No way. That's amazing. Okay. Well, I guess the first question I have to view for you is, have you already done some voice work prior to coming up here?
No.
All right, very good. So are you familiar with the concept of vocal fold mass, of pitch, and of vocal tract size?
Something, but not really.
A little bit. All right,
Yeah.
very simply put, you and I, Lemon, we've been plagued by the terrible virus that is called testosterone, and our voices have gone so deep. We don't want to be plagued by such deepness as really feminine presenting people. I don't know. I dare assume. But you get the idea. So our goal is to revert the effects of testosterone. Namely, we want to raise our larynx, make the pitch go higher, and if our voice was quite buzzy and had like a lot of weight to it, make it softer so that it can then become like a quite nice, soft and smooth sound to listen to. Okay? So first and foremost, I want to hear what kind of range you have available. Can you give me a slide from your lowest pitch up to your highest pitch? And give it a try.
This will be my like deepest, I think.
Ooh,
Probably.
oh, it's pretty deep, nice. And then if you try to go up,
1 second. This will
Take
be
your time.
my
Ooh.
lightest. Nah, I think that's kinda my limit.
Okay, so you want to move up to A3. Okay, so you kind of like went for something that already sounds like a femme voice, to be honest. I was more so asking for you to like do a slide like, oh. Yes, thank
Like
you.
that?
Oh, that's what I thought. You can go much higher than the voice you did before. Okay, so you can go up to G4. Do note that you don't need to be speaking at your highest pitch all the time. I mean, I don't do this personally, but just nice thing to know because you could sometimes do this for like intonation. Like maybe instead of saying like "Hello, how are you?" you could be saying "Hello, how are you?" to have like a bit more color and a bit more emotion to your voice. All right. With that being said, let's move on to the next part. You have quite the range, and I'm sure we'll be able to do some easy feminization of that. All right, so next thing I want you to do is to give me a whisper. For this, you might want to open up your mic, so make sure that in your sound settings, the mic activation threshold is all the way down to 0%, and that the noise suppression is turned off. Do let me know when you got this set up.
There we go.
All right, awesome. Thank you very much. Now, next up, I want you to give me a whisper on the words pat that cat. Very simply put, instead of doing what we did with the person before you, instead of going like for a really bright pat that cat, we're actually going to want to start really dark.
pat that cat. Like Darth Vader. Yes, very dark and evil, but that cat.
Nice. And now what I want you to do is to scale that really big cat to a small cat. So,
Pat, pat.
pat, 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 pat that cat. Try it out.
Pat that cat. Pat, 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 pat that cat.
Very good. You actually just jumped for it directly. Pat that cat. And then you did the gradient. That was really good. I must ask, how good are you with mimicry? Like, just do you mimic some voices from time to time, just for fun? Like Stitch voice, Kermit voice, any voice?
I don't really do it, but I think I can get the idea.
Yeah, I think you can do pretty well in terms of mimicking stuff. So I guess we'll do something maybe a bit more mimicry based to skip some steps. All right, then in that case, let us get some text for practice here. So let's go very simple here. I want you to tell me, do you see the board?
Yep.
Yes, awesome. So here we have the sentence, that mad brat sat in that flat mat. If I ask you to try and read it in your most femme voice without anything done prior to this, what would you kind of go for on your own?
That mad brat sat on that flat mat.
Okay, very good. So what I hear this, that mad brat sat on a flat mat. So the pitch is quite high. we have that mad rat. It's a G3, so very much within fen range. That mad rat's on a flat mat. It's also quite bright because we don't have like a oh that mad rat. So we have like a that mad rat's on a flat mat. Now the thing that actually is causing us problem here is the vocal weight. As you might have noticed, the sound is a bit too textured. That mad rat's on a flat mat. Like it's very heavy. So we're gonna want to try and go for a really soft sound. Can you try to mimic after me here? Very good. And now can we try again and say, God help, please. Okay, sorry, no, not this one. So, that mad brat.
That mad brat.
Good. Nice. That mad brat sat on that flat mat.
That mad brat sat on that flat mat.
That sounds beautiful. Now let's try to go up in pitch like this. That mad brat sat on that flat mat. Try that.
That mad brat sat on that flat mat.
Good. And let's go down. That mad brat sat on that flat mat.
That mad brat sat on that flat mat.
Beautiful. Let's try this. That mad brat.
Again.
Oh, take your time.
Again.
That. Oh, you want me to give it again? Okay, sure. That mad brat.
That mad brat.
Very good. And let's try this. That mad brat sat.
That mad brat sat.
Beautiful. And now let's do the whole sentence. That mad brat sat on that flat mat.
That mad brat sat on that flat mat.
That sounds beautiful to me. Very bright, very soft, well intonated. I don't hear like a that mad brat sat on that flat mat. So like you are keeping your vocal tract size very small, very bright. That's good. So you're very much staying. You're quite natural at this. That's quite impressive. Let's try just the next sentence. See if this is not just a fluke. So let's try next one. The crowbar opened the subpar car.
The crowbar opened the subpar car.
Beautiful. Try the next sentence. The store doors creaked more on the fourth floor.
The store doors creak more on the floor.
All right, I might have a bit of a nitpick here. You did the store doors creaked more on the fourth floor. So on the E sound it creaked, it kind of went darker. But otherwise, it's really, really good. All right, awesome. Yep.
I'm trying to give the pitch for yeah. It's kind of hard.
It's okay. It's okay. What I have to say is this is very, very good, okay? Like, you told me you've never done any voice work prior to this. Like, your mimicry skills are really good. So, like, here I think all you need to do is just keep practicing at this. Like, just throw yourself at practicing your voice. Record yourself, listen back to yourself. There might be some times where, like, your voice goes a bit darker. Like in the case of the store doors creaked more on the fourth floor, right? So it's on the E sound of creaked, in which case what I would recommend you do is you take the word creaked, you make it into a whisper, creaked, and then you try to brighten that whisper, creak, 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 creak. And I'm saying this for like the creak sound, but it can be for any sound ever. So if you notice that your voice does drop to something darker, something that doesn't align with the rest of the brightness, then, you know, just take that sound in isolation, work at it, and I'm sure you'll be able to figure things out really easily. Okay, awesome. That was really good. Yeah, just practice your voice, start using it around people, I guess. Well, if you're comfortable with that, of course. But yeah, other than that, just throw yourself at it. Like, you have really strong mimicry skills. Maybe try to find femme voices that you like to mimic and try to mimic those. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
Thank you.
You're super welcome. Everyone give a big round of applause to Lemon Amnesia. Woo! All right. Awesome. Next up on stage, I want to see someone who wants to make their voices sound more masculine. If you want to do so, please jump in place. Or raise your hand or use the hand emoji. All right. Anyone interested in making their voices more masculine, or we got extra fem rounds today? Going once, going twice, going thrice. All right, it's extra fem voice today. So, if you want to make your voice sound more feminine, please jump in place, raise your hand, or use the hand emoji. All right, so, Aratanaru, yes? Have you already been on stage before?
No, I haven't.
All right, come up on stage. Come on, come on. All right, everyone give a big round of applause to Aratanaru. Woo! Hello, welcome. Hi.
Hello. Hello.
All right, welcome. So, first time in one of these workshops, or you've been around a little bit?
This is my second time, actually.
Second time, all right. So, I suppose you're already
Yeah.
familiar with the concepts of brightness, darkness, of vocal tract size, familiar with the pitch, with vocal fold mass. All of these are alien to you or quite known?
I know about them, yeah.
All right, awesome. So already I can hear your voice has a lot of feminine components to this. So I must ask, have you already done some voice practice of your own? If so, how long? Yeah, just let me know a little bit about your vocal experience.
I have been practicing on and off for some time. I'm still not consistent, and I still can't. Yeah, it's consistency and especially resonance, I think, and strain.
Okay. So I feel like it's mostly consistency around like especially like resonance and strain. Like you do notice like you dip quite low in pitch. In terms of pitch, we have things like da 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 da. It's like more on the lower end, like E3, D3, da da da. In terms of resonance, da 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 da. And you sometimes dip down to A sharp 2, B2, which are pitches that are not unseen in femme voices, but it's quite rare. So just be aware of that. And they pose their own challenges. One of them being it's really hard to be loud and femme sounding with these low pitches. I mean, heck, it's to the point where what are generally like cis women will tend to have such low voices and be perceived as masculine, even though, well, they have not gone like doing the transition thing and all that. Like this is really interesting. Like even without testosterone, these voices tend to be perceived dark. Sorry, not dark, but masculine. So I think yes, there's some part where like your voice does drop darker, like da 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 da, like you go down to like a lower pitch, but like it also like goes darker as a result of that. I think it's because if you keep those pitches at the same volume and as bright as you want them to be with as like the rest of your range, you kind of will end up having like I don't know, that my brat sat on that flat mat, and he kind of like ends up sounding a bit more buzzy, because buzziness is not something that's just conditioned by the thickness of the vocal folds. It's also something that relies on the relationship. Well, it's a relationship between how big or how small of a vocal tract you have and how much vocal fold mass you have. Think like about it like a glass of water, right? So if you have like a very small glass of water, if you put a lot of water through it, it's going to spill. But if you put just the right amount, it's going to be full the right amount. Similarly, even if you have like a lot of water, but the glass is extremely big, you're never going to hear that water spill, or you're never going to see that water spill. It's like if I take like this really thick voice here and I just like go for a bigger vocal tract, even if my vocal folds are still really thick, you don't like it's still really loud and very textured, but it's not buzzy. It just can't be because the space is too big for that, right? And so this is kind of like something that I want to bring to the front of your mind regarding that brightness to vocal fold mass relationship, especially when it comes to like these lower pitches. So there's two ways to go about this. Either you avoid lower pitches altogether, but then kind of like lose maybe the kind of goal you want to go for. Maybe you're content and happy with a lower fem voice, one that kind of like chills down here. But if you are, just do be aware that going for these really low pitches will require you to be more careful in regards that you cannot push your voice as loud as you would be able to with like your much higher pitched voice. Like a voice like this can be quite loud without being buzzy, specifically because the higher pitch does allow for a little bit more leeway in terms of loudness. But like the lower pitches, if you make them too loud and too consistently loud, they kind of start to sound like more androgynous leaning. Even if like you do everything right, like even if it's like not buzzy and stuff like that, it still will tend to sound like quite, masc leaning. So I guess that's the question for you to answer. Are you happy with using a lower fem voice, but aware that you won't be able to push it as loud, and that you might want to tweak a little bit things like make it brighter, but most importantly, make it really soft so that it can easily merge with the rest of your voice? Or would be happy with moving for a higher pitched voice and stuff like that? That's just you.
Sorry.
Go on, sorry.
I'd prefer a higher pitched voice, actually.
All right, very good. I'd prefer a higher pitched voice, actually. Okay, so let's talk about pitch ranges and pitch behaviors real quick. So, like your pitch is like around here, mostly. Also, what you see on the board, be mindful. This is not the the holy grail of what fem voices ranges and masc voice ranges should be. They are common socially gendered ranges, so statistically most people tend to fall in that. You can very much hear like lower voices that like kind of hang around here with no problem, and you can very much hear like higher pitched masc voices that like talk all the way up here, right? Like, that still works. But if you want a higher pitched voice, you'll have a bit more like range to intonate, and the lower pitches you currently use will be able to be used for like intonation, emotion, and like expression. So what you worked so far down here is not lost. It's really useful. Even if we go for higher pitches, typically I can be like all the way up here, and then I can be like suddenly really, really sad and kind of lose my joy or something. Don't worry, I'm fine. I'm just acting it up to like show how I can trail down to lower pitches. But let's try this, okay? I don't need you to tune your voice to be brighter or to be softer, at least not yet. We'll have to see about that. Oh gosh. Okay, wait a second. Oh yeah, okay. So let's go to some sentences and try to read those. Actually, no. We can go for like pitched sentences with intonated sentences. Okay, can you read the board? Has it loaded for you?
Yes, it has.
All right, awesome. So I want you just to read me that first sentence in your current voice, just to hear what your voice does in terms of pitch. Give it a try.
Hello, good morning. How are you?
All right. Hello, good morning. How are you? Da 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 da. It's like C3. No, not C3. C4, B3, C4, B3, and then we go down to C3. Okay, so very good. Da da da. It's like we start an octave higher. Hello, good morning. How are you? Quite low. Let's try a different approach. You did indeed start quite high in pitch, but you went for a masculine intonation. You stayed monotonous. Hello, good morning. How are you? And then you kind of like went down. Instead of doing so, let's try this other option. How are you? First of all, it's a question, so we tend to kind of go for a higher pitch. How are you? Right? Like it's kind of like I'm throwing the speech to you. Like it's your turn to talk. How are you? So we can try this first and foremost. Let's try to do this. How are you?
How are you?
How are you? See? And even if you started lower, because you actually started down at C3, how are you? Already, that is already a lot more convincing and a lot more femme sounding than if you started da da da, hello, good morning, how are you, right? Because the intonation makes sense. It's quite like expressive. It moves up and down. It has like amplitude, right? It has variation. So let's try the other one the same way. First of all, I want you to mimic after me. Let's do this monotonously. So, hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good, we're monotonous, but we're down to D3. Let's move up. Hello, good morning. Da 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 da. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good. Da 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 da. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Very good. Hello, good morning. And now from here, hello. Hello. Good morning. Try to emphasize on the vowels. Try it out.
Hello, good morning.
Very good. Hello. Good. Careful here. Good. The pitch is D sharp 3, but I think it's also a bit dark. So, good morning. So let's try this.
Good. Good.
Good. Good. Good morning.
Good. Good morning.
Careful here. I heard you squeeze there. Good.
Yeah.
Right? So
Yeah.
that probably happens because you took the whisper and you squeezed it too harshly. You might want to avoid this because this can add strain to your voice, which is another thing you mentioned. You mentioned strain, right? When it comes to whispers, first and foremost, you need to know that whispers are drying to the voice because when you use whispers, the vocal folds don't vibrate properly. Normally, they open, they close, they open, they close, and they use all of the air to produce that vibration. When you whisper, the air brushes past them, so it kind of dries them up. So, of course, you don't want to stop doing whispers altogether. They have their uses, especially for us. They help us tune the brightness, they help us tune the resonance of our voices. And so, what you're doing here is good, right? Like it's too squeezed. Always prefer going for a softer, gentler whisper. So instead of you want to go good morning. Going gentler will allow you to have less strain, less tension, and more control over your voice. Keep that in mind. All right, try this again. All relaxed. Nice. That one might be a little bit too far, not as far as before, but it's good enough. So then from here, good morning.
Good morning.
All right, very good. Good morning. That's really bright, it's really femme, and it's not having your strain on your voice. So now let's try this again. Hello, good morning. You can take the time and make it slower if you can help. Like, I'd recommend doing something more like, hello, good morning. Going slower allows us to hear better if there's flaws and also hear better our qualities when it comes to voice. Try it out.
Hello. Good morning.
Okay, very good. Hello, good morning. Okay, da 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 da. So we start, hello, good morning. All right, so now we have like this nice amplitude. You actually only end up at D3 or D sharp 3 at your lowest. So it's already like higher than like the A2, B2 we had before. The general rule of thumb is if you want to not think about darkness and thickness too much, staying above C3, D3 is generally a good way to avoid most of the pitfalls when it comes to voice, and you've done that perfectly. Hello, good morning. How are you? All right, that was really good. So yeah, I would just say like use something like a pitch monitoring app. That's exactly what I have. Like I have like a on my phone, I have like a vocal pitch monitor that's on Android. If you're on iOS, you can like use nail the pitch, like nail with like a hammer, nail the pitch. So yeah, these are the ones I would recommend. Just like, you know, use your voice, press record, just like for a sentence, and just listen back to it, see how your pitch evolves, and just generally try to stay above D3 at all times. And try to adopt more of that, like going up and down kind of motion. You can, if you don't know exactly what kind of motion you should do, try to think about the context. I'll have a cup of coffee, please. That's monotonous. It has no context. What do I want you to focus on? I want you to focus on having, on cup of coffee, or on please, right? So I could have, I'll have a cup of coffee, please. Means that I really want to have it. I require it. If I do, I'll have a cup of coffee, please, makes me all important, inflates my ego. What if I want to focus on the cup of coffee? The drink is important to me. No macchiato, I want it black. I'll have a cup of coffee, please. And if I want to be really nice of a person, I'll have a cup of coffee, please. Right? And then you can kind of like intonate different parts of it. So like here, I didn't just do please, I intonated have and please. So please, I want to have a cup of coffee. So you can carry meaning into your intonation. Masc voices will tend to do this more with loudness.
I'll have a cup of coffee, please.
They won't really like use intonation as much. At least this again depends on like different cultures and different like social groups. But yeah, when it comes to fem voice, we also use the pitch to give meaning across the words, kind of like a sub meaning in a way. All right, that was really good. Artanaru, you have a very solid voice for starters. All I would say is, yes, indeed, your voice does get darker and does get a bit thicker because you're trailing so close to lower pitches. If you bring your pitch a little bit higher, you generally avoid all of these things altogether. We had like good morning, the good sound a bit dark. That was around the lower pitches again. So what I would recommend is whatever you do at high pitches, I think you're consistently bright, at least with the very little I've been able to hear. But be sure to work on pitches like D sharp 3, D3, C sharp 3, and C3. And below, you don't really need to focus on that because that's a bit too low for most fem voices. But if you want to, you can take that challenge and try to make them as bright as possible. Just like we've done with the good. Always a relaxed whisper. And then try to bridge that into the lower pitches. So, for example, here this is a C3. It sounds fem because it's really bright, but it's most importantly really soft. If I just make it slightly thicker, then it's already too far, right? So yeah, it kind of is really tricky and like it's a thin balance to work on. But yeah, so main takeaway: go higher in pitch. Be sure to brighten and soften the lower pitches as best as possible. And you should be more than okay. Oh, and the whisper, always relaxed, always soft. This will also allow you to avoid strain and will make your practice a lot more pleasant. Okay?
Okay, I see. Thank you.
All right. You're super welcome. Everyone give a big round of applause to Aratanaru. Woo! Good job. Woo!
Thank you.
You're welcome. Oh, wow. We got some message from people. Someone, Neela, you are the best. All right. Very good. So next up, I did say we're going to do fem voice extra round. So if you want to make your voice fem, please jump in place. Raise your hand. All right. I've seen you here. Wanderer Mimi. Yes. Have you already been on stage before?
Yes, I have.
You have been on stage before?
Yeah.
I cannot hear you. Could you come closer?
Yes, I have been on stage before.
Okay. Would you mind letting someone else on stage who has not been on stage before?
Run. Yeah, sure thing.
All right. Thank you, Wonder. Sorry. I tried to get as many people as that are new. Okay, someone else here? Yes? Who would that be? Ridele? Or Redele? Or yes? All right. First time ever? All
I
right.
mean, I was on instances, but first I'm on stage, I guess.
Wait, you were on stage before?
No, it's a first time for me.
Oh, okay. Well, welcome. Everyone give a big round of applause to Redele or Redele.
Oh, okay.
Oh, cool. All right. Woo! So we're a bit short on time, so it might be a bit shorter of a time. Also, there's a lot of feedback on your mic, so when I do speak, please do keep your mic muted. Thank you very much. All right, so Redele, Redele, Redele. I'm not sure how to pronounce this.
Radela.
Redele. All right. Well, first of all, welcome to this workshop. Welcome up on stage. If this is the very first time for you, are you familiar with the concept of brightness, darkness, of pitch, and of vocal fold mass? Or do you just kind of like go for a femme voice like this?
I mean, I guess I do somehow, but I mostly just was doing things on my own, just trying to get this voice sounds kind of good. Something like that.
I would agree. Your voice sounds very good. Well, in that case, I guess what kind of things are you looking for when it comes to your femme voice? Are there some instabilities? Are there some special objectives you have?
I don't know. I mean, I have a problem that in Polish it sounds more masculine, so I would like to, control it better.
I mean, I hear a very femme sound. To base myself off on that statement, I like to listen to the brightness of the voice. Your voice is like really bright. It's also really soft. It's not buzzy, and it's like quite high in pitch. So, like, honestly, like, I think your voice does fit the bill of most femme voices. You got it. It's there. But if your concern is in Polish, then maybe there's some kind of either like a mental block or like different sounds that have not been worked on Polish. I know like Polish has like a lot of like consonant sounds, so perhaps these could be darker. Like it's like the j, the z, or whatever. I don't know how to pronounce these a lot. It's like a kind of like between D's and T's and S's, right? And so consonants can also be a part of the language. So it's not just vowels, right? A, E, I, O, U, right? You can also have like the T's, T, K, Sh, P. And these can be really dark, T, K, Sh, P, or T, K, Sh, P, really bright. So perhaps in Polish, you might have done most of the fem work in English, and the vowels and consonants in English are, let's be honest, pretty easy compared to some of the phonemes in Polish. So maybe you might want to focus more on those Polish sounds that could trip you up. That's the main thing that comes to mind. But without hearing your voice in Polish, and myself not being a Polish speaker, it might be a bit difficult. I can only guess given what you give me.
I understand. Then we could go with. I'm getting tired with speaking, and I cannot sing, and things like that.
Okay,
Maybe.
sure. So you want to do some singing. So singing is quite different from like speech and from voice altogether. I mean, it's definitely a component of voice in the sense that we do use the vocal folds, we do use our voices with some agility. I suppose my questions would be, what kind of challenges do you face when it comes to singing? Does your voice get strained? Do you sing really breathy? Do you go like really dark at high pitches? I'm guessing first and foremost, the kind of singing you want to do is probably like more like pop singing, right? Like it's not like operatic singing, like you don't want to sing like this, right?
Yeah, it's more like pop. The strain. I can sing for like 2 minutes and then I'm losing my entire voice, so that's not the best.
Okay, could you give me like maybe like a sentence or two like of your singing so I can like kind of hear what you're working with?
That's
I know I'm putting
stressful.
you on the spot, but like,
You can do it.
I don't know. I have vacuum in my
I know.
head.
It's okay. Like, I suppose I could ask you, like, you know, this is a bit difficult for me. Like, if I don't hear it, it's hard for me to give you proper advice. I guess I could just like give you blind advice. Like, I dare suppose that if you go for higher pitches, you might go for really high pitches, and these might not be as well worked as the pitches in your voice. So if you like speak up here, da, 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 and maybe you sing all the way up here, and perhaps your pitch is like really like breathy. And so if your voice is really breathy, no wonder that you can only last for 2 minutes, because your voice would be dried out really quickly. So in which case you'd want to actually like take the time and remove and work on reducing that breathiness. By reducing the breathiness, you're either releasing less air. So instead of like, you kind of like keep the air in a little bit more, controlling your lungs with the diaphragm a bit more, with your lower back muscles, with your, like, your chest muscles. But if that is still too quiet and you still want to have like some volume at these high pitches, but you end up still having, then what you would want to do is, first of all, keep your voice relaxed and slowly build it up. That's just one pitch, of course, so it's not much, but and next thing that you would want to do is probably like work on increasing the closure of the vocal folds. So if you're breathy, it's a lack of closure. You have a lot of air, so much so that it pushes the vocal folds apart. So your goal would be to close the vocal folds again to find that fuller sound, avoid that breathiness, and have a better time singing. And also you might be able to have more stamina. Also using some of the softies that we do at the start of the lesson. So like the lip trills. These can help a lot with finding more closure and just a more healthy vibration of the vocal folds. So you can try this at higher pitches or the pitches that you're struggling with and see how that improves your stamina over time. Okay?
Okay, I think I understand.
Okay, I hope that was somewhat helpful. All I have to say is that your femme voice sounds just fine to me. There's nothing I have to say about it. It's soft, it's bright, it's well intonated and high in pitch. No problem whatsoever. But if you have like issues of strain and stamina, both in voice or in singing, then you might want to watch out for perhaps sometimes where your voice could get like a lot breathier. So then that airflow control in relationship to the closure of the vocal folds would help you a lot. Okay?
Okay, I understand. Thank you.
All right. This is my advice based on not a whole lot. Well, I mean, my advice is based on what I know, but I don't know how well it will apply to you. But yeah, here's some advice that maybe you might find useful for your singing in the future. All right. I hope that has been helpful to you.
It was out. I am
All right.
counting things.
Awesome. All right. Everyone give a big round of applause to Verdele. Woo! All right. And with that, I'm happy to say that I have not crashed out and that internet has not died out. So we're good. All right. So Rory, Lee, do we have any questions from either the Discord or the Twitch? I'll be listening and answering them. No Twitch questions yet? And what about you, V?
No Discord questions.
No Discord questions. All right. I guess I'll take a question or two from the audience. If y'all have questions, feel free to come closer and ask them to me. I'll try to answer to the best of my abilities.
Don't be shy. Come on.
All right. Don't be shy. Come on. I'll invite. Promise. All right. Vivienne, yes, you have a question? Oh, that was just parkour. Oh, all right. I guess never mind. Oh, wow. Oh, is that a question for me? Text question? Do you know what is? I only see do you know what is? Is there more coming up?
No, not mine.
Yes.
I have one question. Maybe you remember me while well, I was doing exercise for masculinization my voice, and once I felt something sharp in my throat, and now I stopped doing this exercise. It happened on Friday. Now I um speak in a higher way than my usual voice because it's hard. And I wanted to ask you what I should do. Maybe I just have to relax, don't do anything. I don't know.
Okay, sharpness. I don't know if it's like a choice of words that makes it sound like that, but sharpness when it comes to voice, I mean, like something sharp in your throat, that's pretty terrifying, to be honest. My main recommendation is see a voice doctor. You might have something going on. That's pretty much it. I mean, like, I don't want to, like, pull on the alarm needlessly, but like, if what you feel is genuine in that regard, yeah, take that seriously. Sharpness in your throat should not be, like that. You might feel a tickle, you might feel some discomfort if you do some things wrong, but normally you shouldn't have that sharpness happen. So there's some doctors that are well versed in this. They're called laryngologists. So they're people who will like put a camera down your throat and see, or like they can like use a mirror to like see what's going on, and they will be able to see if something is actually wrong with your voice. That could be a good thing to like put your mind to peace. The other thing I could say, but like that's that's just my theory. I don't actually know what's going on in your throat, of course, is that maybe you are doing like a strange configuration of your like larynx and of your tongue root. So maybe like you're maybe moving your tongue really low, but you're not moving your larynx low enough, and they could be clashing together, and you could feel the cartilage of the larynx rub against the bone of the tongue root, which could cause some pain and discomfort. Some people have this and they call it clicking larynx. So like literally like they hear a click in their larynx. And at a time when I was first starting, this happened a few times to me because I was kind of like doing weird things with my voice. So I had kind of like felt a click in my larynx, and it turns out it was something like this. But my issue was behavioral. Your issue might also be behavioral, so you might have no problem, but just a strange configuration of your voice. What you should try to do is do the darkness exercises again, but try to keep your tongue at the very roof of your mouth. So like you can like do like a G sound, like a K sound, like cot, 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 cot. Because of the K sound, you keep your tongue higher up in your mouth. And so it means that the tongue root is less likely to clash with your larynx as you move it. Another thing you could do is like, I know it's going to sound silly, but you can like pull your tongue out, or like, like keep your tongue out of your mouth completely as far as you can. So you really, really pull on the tongue root, so it's completely out of the way, and then you can try lowering your larynx again whilst keeping the tongue out of the mouth. It could be helpful, and maybe it could like help you experiment with more darkness in regards to your voice. That is if that is an issue caused by modifying your brightness or darkness. If you are modifying your pitch, then that's something I can't really help with. Probably best to see the voice doctor either way. So if you have the possibility to see a voice doctor, so typically a laryngologist, SLPs might have the tools for this, but they're not specifically equipped for this. Like these professionals, laryngologists, can actually look at this and tell you something's wrong, something's not. If nothing's wrong, then it's something in your behaviors that you can change. If something's wrong, you're going to be really glad to know about this, is all I'm going to say. Okay?
Okay, and I have the 2nd
Mhm.
one.
Yes.
After this that was happening with me on Friday, I've noticed that my usual voice when I nothing do, well, now I speak higher than usual. My usual normal voice became lower than before. But at the same time, when I try to do this exercise, I have less this sound diapason. Uh, and my
Diapason?
question,
What do you mean by this?
uh,
Sorry.
like in piano, we have a lot of buttons, and we can move left or right, and each person have each their own area that they can speak, and um for example, you can speak from very low note to very high, and usual people can only use a fem zone or masculine zone. I mean this, and I before had it seems to me um more larger this zone than now, and maybe it because that was happening with me. But my question, um when when everything goes going right, all right, um my usual voice will change. Like, it would be for me normal to use a very low voice, or I always will have my default version of my voice, and I have in future I still have to um, uh, have in my mind that I have to do all these things with my voice to speak lower, or it will be like habit, or I don't know.
Right. So the question you're asking is like, hey, you're able to achieve a lower pitched voice. You're able to achieve a darker voice that feels more masculine and so more aligned with your self and your gender presentation. Also, the word you're looking for instead of diapason or the area would be a range, like a fem range or a masc range or like an androgynous range or like just like a wide range of pitch. In the case of your answer, yeah, if you keep grinding at using your masc voice, eventually your brain will just understand that, hey, this is the new norm, this is the new behavior, and it will just stick to it. So I know it can feel discouraging at first to have your voice be
Like exactly what you want it to be, and like it's
suddenly like shoots back up to fem voice and like you're neutral. And I know that can be discouraging, but it's a matter of time, of practice. And again, this goes back to what I said at the very start of the workshop, which is voice work is a marathon. You're relearning your voice from the ground up. So it can take some time, to kind of like get better at, having consistency with it. So it's something that comes with time and with practice. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Thank
Hope that answers your questions. You're welcome,
Yeah.
Wheeler. All right. And with that, we're going to wrap up this workshop. Everyone, thank you for showing up today. It was a lovely session, and I'm so glad I didn't crash out because I lost my internet like 4 times today. So yeah, this worked out. I'm really glad. Thank you, Rory and V, for thinking of like plan Bs and plan Cs and things to make the workshop still happen if it did come to that. So thank you as usual for being here. All right, so everyone say goodbye to Twitch. Bye, Twitch. Bye. And bye, YouTube as well. Bye, YouTube. See you next time. Bye-bye.